Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, February 6th. It is 6:28 right now. We got market opening up in about a minute 30. Um, so I'm gonna finish logging into my Ninja accounts real quick. All right, started. All right, if you guys are looking to take the breakout for today is looking like it's gonna be a sell position. We have a buy signal currently active. Today's NFP, I'm not sure if the data came out. I'll double check it right now. Doesn't look like it. We didn't have a huge spike here at 5:30. So we'll see in a few. So market is opening up in about 20 seconds, guys. If you guys are looking to take the breakout for today is going to be a sell. And we'll see what happens here in a few moments. So let me check the sessions. So the sessions are kind of spread out. We're kind of like in a chop again. Looks like, I mean, if price breaks above, then we'll probably be bullish and it'll continue climbing up higher. If price breaks below, then it'll probably be bearish and price will continue dropping lower. Looking at the market right now, it's not really moving on open. Yeah, the candle's actually really small. Huh. That's it's kind of weird. This is like how the breakout looked yesterday, if you guys remember. It was really slow on open and then it started to really pick up after the first couple like minute or so. So we got market open right now. Price is kind of pushing up quite a bit. I didn't take the breakout, of course. Um, I mean, for obvious reasons. So we will yeah, Solange said WTF self flicker, but what is this spike? Yeah, Daniel said the flicker wins again. So I don't really take the breakout, but for those of you who do take the breakout, they take into consideration the flicker that happens pre-market. There was a flicker right there, as you guys can see, 628, 627. And then it kind of just, took off in a sense. So we'll see. Masih said he's going to log the trades in the chat for the bot TP on breakout. Okay, perfect. So Masih actually took the breakout there for a buy. Looks like it wasn't the algo breakout, but it was like the regular breakout. Typically, the regular breakout is with momentum. Most of our trades that we want to take are going to be with momentum. All my algo entries are going to be with momentum. But if you're trying to base it off the algo, wherever the probabilities are higher, a lot of people like to go against. So Solange took the buy off the sell flicker and you got 120 4R. Nice. Ed also took it for a buy, full TP. Nice work, guys. So again, everybody applies things slightly differently. I think, Ed, I saw your discussion in the chat. So it looks like what Ed does is he uses the 5 minute momentum, but then he enters on the algo entry. I think which is really smart. Is that what you do, Ed? I think that's what you said here, right? You take them on the 1 minute chart, but you use the 5 minute momentum, which is really smart. That's actually how the breakout is supposed to work, right? If you guys apply the breakout normally, not the algo way, you'd use it off the 10 minute, not the five. So, or I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. If it's on the 10, it's usually gonna be the same on the five. So, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Um, I think I might start looking at the algo entries like that. Using I'm just gonna look at, an alternative because that actually works. I mean, that's how we used to apply the breakout before. If you guys remember the breakout, you'd identify the direction on the 10. The reason why we do that is because of the flickering momentum, right? I didn't think about the flickering momentum back then, but before you'd look at the momentum here on the 10 minute, and if it was bullish, then you would just take it on the 1 minute, but you'd use the 10 minute momentum. So if you guys want to go back and review like the older breakout strategies, that was like one way of applying it. And I think that's the way a lot of people still apply it today. If you guys look at the algo entries for today, guys, yeah, so there was no NFP. I just pulled up the news right here. There's no NFP today. It was scheduled for today, but it's going to be next week because of the government shutdown. It's so weird. Like, Usually the government shutdown is resolved by NFP. This year this year and last year, like there was a time in November where we didn't have NFP for like 3 months, which is crazy, right? Like that never happens. Again, this month we didn't have NFP. It's weird because NFP is one of the biggest days, like the biggest news days. And yeah, for whatever reason, there is there's no NFP. But okay, so Masish today, he took the breakout. He got a full TP. He took the breakout V3, also full TP. Nice work, Masish, on those there. Thanks for mentioning so that we know what's being taken and what's being followed. Those are kind of the bread and butter of my original strategies that I used to apply when I used to trade discretionary for the most part. I would always take the breakout V3, and then MPS V2. I think those are going to be like some of the most used strategies, of course, and the strategies that are still used today. And the pivot scalp, of course. I think those are probably going to be top four, if not top five. And then momentum scalp. Yeah. They're all the same strategy. It's just different entry points. Let's see. So let's see where we're at right now. Okay. So we currently have a higher high right here. Currently have a higher high right there. We currently have a lower low right here. I'm just going to mark up structure as price continues to move along. So like I said earlier, if price stays above, the sessions, we're probably going to stay bullish for the day. We're above the sessions right now. Let's fix structure here. There's like smaller structures in between. I don't know if I'm going to mark them up. I guess I could just mark up the little one. But yeah, there's like little structures in between here. Okay, we got a lot of structure down here. If price decides to come back down, price is still pushing up right now, so we have continuation to the upside. If you guys looked at my algo entries, guys, I swapped out gold with ES. ES actually looked really good for today. The reason why I swapped out gold is because you can't even trade gold on Apex right now. They've halted trading for gold. I don't know for how long, but they've halted trading. So I just stopped looking at gold. There's just no point. ES over here, there's a lot of entries if you guys look. So there's entry over here at 643, 644. There's a lot of clusters of entries, basically between 643 up until 7 o'clock. There's a bunch of entries, and then over here from 6:59 to 6:07, whatever. There's a lot of entries there. So I'll continue to look to see if any of those come up. I think the first target entry for YM is going to be at 710. Yeah. So there's not going to be anything there, but I'm curious to see how ES over here plays out. So I'll keep watching over here as price moves along. But let's check out the algo entries for ES. So ES over here, we're actually not there yet. 643 is going to be the first entry for ES. So I'll take a look at that in a few. The TP stop loss for ES is going to be 16 TP, 8 points. For tick wise, it's going to be 34.32. So that's what the target looks like. It's quite big. It's quite big, but the numbers are pretty nice. You guys can see all of the entries that I identified for ES, they're all target entries because they have very high profit factor and they have high win rate. Max drawdown is going to be kind of high, but I started to realize that the max drawdown doesn't really matter too much. because we're not taking that specific entry every single day, right? We're taking different entries. So what's more important here is because we have so many opportunities is going to be the overall win rate, weighted win rate, and profit factor. The max drawdown is good if you're taking that same entry. So for example, if you're applying the like MPSV2 or breakout, like that's at the same time every day, or same like it comes up the same strategy, then that's where the max equity drawdown is really important. For the algo entry though, it's not as important because you're not always taking like 643, right? Sometimes you're gonna be taking 644. So yeah, there's gonna be times where you don't have the entry. And it's gonna vary that way. So I'll come back and take a look at that in a few. There's no entry there yet. I'm just going to keep updating the higher highs here as price continues to climb up higher. Thanks, Masish, for answering Mendez's question there. Masish said bot hit 3 TPs, done for the day, posting profits. Nice. And then another one right there on the Ichimoku. Solid work. Masish, are you capping yours at 3 trades per day, Masish? That's what it seems like, right? That's a good number. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's usually what I do too. I might switch back to that because that's it just makes more sense. It's more ideal that way. Versus like banking on one trade. The problem is with the hedge clients is that some people are trading with the smallest amount. I can't do that, right? Yeah, so as you guys can see, this is just growing pains with the hedge fund clients. Like it's hard because I try to make it affordable for everyone, but it's just not realistic to trade one contract. It just doesn't make sense. I think 3 contract minimum would probably be the best option. In that situation, you take like 3 trades. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restructure. I'm gonna have to restructure the minimum risk because I thought it would work with one contract, but really, if you think realistically, like one contract's not a lot to take per day. And that's if I minimize. I know I can go down to the micro contracts, but the thing is, I'm not trading micros, I'm trading minis. So, you can only go small on the minis. Unless I do all micros, then I could probably change it, but we'll see. I'll have to figure out what the idea is. Okay, so Massage's profits over here, he did a 6R for the day. So nice. Masage over here, February 6th, 3 trades, 3 TPs, breakout V3, breakout V3 continuation, and Ichimoku both. Bot stops at 3 wins, 2 losses, whichever comes first. Super great day within the first 6 minutes. These are the best kind of trading days, right? Where you get your profit within the first couple minutes of market open. Those are the best days, right? If you can get all your trades within the first 30 minutes, if not first 10 minutes, first 20 minutes, then it's a great day because then you're in and out very quickly. That's why I created multiple strategies that kind of align in the same direction. So looking at this right here, these are Masige's profits. He made 10,200 for the day. So very solid day for Masige. If you guys are not familiar with what Masige is doing, what he's doing is he's automated my strategy. So basically, he follows 30 of my strategies that I created over the past 15 years or so, and he just takes them automatically whenever they come up. He goes for 3 wins or 2 losses, whichever comes first, he's done. Or if it hits 7 o'clock, he's also done. So he started with 50K account, and then he's up, well over close to 100K, it looks like now almost. So great work right there. If you guys are new here and you guys want to learn these strategies like manually, just go to the website. The website is, or actually you can't go to the website because the website's closed to new people. So if you guys want access to it, if you guys are on the YouTube, just scroll down. There's going to be a special link, a direct link to the free intro course. It'll give you access to this course here where it teaches all the strategies and all the indicators and all the tools. You can't get it on the website anymore, unfortunately. There's just nothing there. But if you go on the YouTube and you scroll down to the description, it'll have a link where all the strategies are taught. So if you guys want to learn those strategies, Masij posted over here in the chat what entries were taken, breakout V3 continuation, and the Ichimoku cloud. I'm glad to see the Ichimoku cloud still working. I mean, I created that strategy a long time ago. That's like that's the very first strategy I ever created, actually, the Ichimoku cloud. And then from there, I started to learn about momentum. Ichimoku clouds is a breakout strategy. So it's basically it's the very start of where I learned how to trade breakouts and where I started to trade momentum. After the Ichimoku cloud, I created the momentum indicator and I traded the trend meter. If you guys are not familiar with the trend meter below, that Ichimoku cloud is, or the trend meter is based off the Ichimoku cloud. That's how I produced this trend down here. So if you guys remember, this is one of my first indicators I ever created. The first one I created was the momentum, and then I created this after because I was like, oh, I need to identify a trend quickly. So yeah, it's cool to see the Ichimoku cloud still working very well. Um, yeah, maybe it's something I might go back and revisit. Let's see. Yeah, Masich said I'll stay in for a bit longer. I feel like I'm leaving so early these days. Yeah, 95K. So Masich is currently at 95,000 so far from January, I guess for this year. Yeah, for this year to date, 95,000. Nice work, Masich. It's pretty good. Yeah, Masich said, yeah, we're still doing the testing, Steven. So this might be your breakthrough, Steven. If you don't mess with it, if you don't mess with it, you'll be good. So hopefully you're not the first one that messes with it. iPhone said, how many strategies do you have? Yeah, Masih said 32 that are in the bot. Yeah, what Masih did is he basically went through all of the videos and he went through all of like the strategies. So Masih, the thing is I created a lot of strategies that I didn't actually like released officially. So you're not going to see all of the strategies here. A lot of them are just going to be in the YouTube videos because I would explain them, but I never really released them. I have a lot of strategies here that are actually not published. There were some strategies that I was creating and then I just decided not to share them because I wanted to keep them for myself. So, I mean, but they're good strategies. They're all based off the same thing, right? They're all based off breakouts and trend continuation. So, same thing that we've been applying for the MPS V2. It's just different entry points. That's why for the breakout V3, it's slightly different because you're looking for continuation versus immediate open. So, yeah. All right. So, Jesus said it'll hopefully cure my itch finger. Yeah, I mean, it should. Should hopefully, and hopefully it does, because that's just, I feel like that's a problem with a lot of people, right? It's just not having the ability to stay disciplined. And it's normal. I mean, it's part of the game, of course, which sucks, but yeah, we have a cure for your itch fingers soon. iPhone said, Sean, you have 32 strategies. Didn't know there were so many. Yeah, so like what Masish said here, they're not full strategies. Like we have like a MPS, but then there's like four or five variations to it, right? There's different ways of applying it. So they're not full on completely different strategies. It's like one strategy and then there's like maybe four or five variations to it. Like the breakout, there's like four or five different variations to the breakout, right? The breakout V2, breakout V3, etc. For V1 variation, there's a V1 variation, V2, V3, CV. That's four different variations to it. For MPS, there's four variations to that too. There's MPS, MPS V2, MPS V3, MPS PA. So if you think about it, I mean, it's maybe like 10 strategies or a little bit more, and then a bunch of variations to it. It's just different entry points, right? Like if you're taking MPS V2 or MPS, like if you're taking any MPS strategy, there's going to be a pivot scalp, MPS right here, V1 variation, CV, V2, V3, um, MPS V2, and then another V1, V2, V3, CV, and then right here would be like an MPS PA. So there's like maybe 10 or 15 complete strategies, or maybe even less, and then like 4 or 5 variations to each of them, where there's different types of opportunities within. So, all right, we have a possible MPSPA setting up right here, guys. We have a higher high. We have a sell signal. What I'm looking for the miss point is I'm looking for retracement continuation down lower. So I'm going to be looking for price to retrace and then continue down. Volatility here is kind of slowed down a bit. Candles have to be pretty clear. Um, hmm, I can't tell what candle that is. It's a doji, so it's not going to meet the criteria there for what we're looking for. It's got to wait for the actual retracement candle. So yeah, nothing there yet. So we kind of want to see it stay flat here for a little bit. I think we have some more news coming up today. It's at 7 o'clock. It's about 10 minutes away. Michigan consumer sentiment. ATR is currently at 39 right now, so it's not horribly bad. This would be a nice break and retest right there, but okay, there's going to be no entry here, guys, unfortunately. So I was hoping we'd get that nice break and retest. The problem is we have a lower low here now, so no entry for MPSPA. If you guys want to take it, you guys can still take it, but it doesn't meet my criteria for MPSPA. I also don't like how these candles here are moving. So we had a green candle right there. If the red candle follows up, this is going to be an MPSPA pattern. Not an entry for me because, like I said, there's a lower low right here. The reason why this is a problem is because we're now in a ranging structure, right? It's now currently ranging, and we don't want to be trading in a ranging market like this. Right, the MPSPA, you want to be trading in a directional market to the downside, where price is distributing, directional market to the upside, which is accumulating, not in a sideways market where manipulation is happening, right? What we might get here is we might get a buy signal come up. So right here we have a lower low. If that's the case, you may be able to catch this to the upside. But I would like it to be above the sessions right there, right? So this is what I talked about earlier. I mentioned if price stays above the sessions and holds, it's probably going to continue pushing up higher. We have a pending buy signal right here. So this may set up for it. We just need price to break past this higher high. So now we have an MPSPA to the upside, which is more ideal. I would prefer to take it for a buy there because everything here is bullish, right? You look over here in the 1, 5, 10, prices above the pivots, trend meters green, pivots are angling up. Right here in the higher time frames as well, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, price is bullish and price is angling to the upside. Now looking over here on the 3-minute time frames, so we have the 1 minute, 5, and 10, everything's very bullish. Buy signal is already valid. This is basically a continuation up higher. The problem with this here is because we're in this chop, we're getting another higher high right there, right? So again, this is going to be another invalidated entry for an MPSV2 or MPSPA, whatever it may be, right? MPSV2, MPSPA, it's just not going to be an entry for me because we don't want to trade when there's higher highs. If you guys can see there's higher highs up here, this starts to establish a double top, right? Like an M pattern. And you don't want to trade in an M pattern because that's a reversal pattern. And then vice versa, if you have lower lows on the bottom end, it's going to set up for a possible W pattern, right? Which is also a reversal pattern, but to the upside. So unfortunately, this is not looking like it's going to be an entry for me because we have a higher high right here. We really need price to break out of this area and to stay out of this area. The reason for that is because once price breaks out of this area and starts to flow to the upside, then we'll have more opportunity to take those buys. But right here, this could still be fake out territory, right? Because we have a higher high right here. See how it goes higher, but it just reverses back down. So we have a higher high, reverse, higher high again right here, probably another reversal down, right? This could be the pattern that it just repeats. Could be a possible fake out here and then pull back down. So if you guys want to take this entry, I mean, you can take it at your own risk. It's going to start to set up for a possible MPSPA. This is also going to set up for a possible pivot scalp entry. Um, yeah, so we'll see what happens here. Let's see. Masij said, oops, bot did not turn off for some reason and just took that new strategy that made with the higher high than reversal. TP for 30 points, but this is what I'm talking about, Steven. There's still bugs, and I don't want to give you guys a bad product. Yeah, that's why it's important that we keep testing it. I know it's really exciting. You guys want to use the bot and stuff, but there's always going to be bugs. Like even with the chop bot, right? The chop bot had bugs before. Good thing I mentioned it to Masij because we were able to resolve that. He's now updated the chop bot and it's working a lot better. But yeah, there was a bots where there would be like ghost orders and stuff like that. So, we're gonna make sure that everything's working 100% before you guys have use of it, and we're gonna have to make sure that there's safeguards in place for like a fail stop, just in case something like that happens. Because you guys are not going to be as quick or to react as me or Masij, and if something goes wrong, you're gonna have to know what to do, like to shut it off and stuff like that. So. Yeah, thanks for being transparent, Prestige, because most people wouldn't be transparent. Most people are going to go for a quick money grab and be like, oh, I have a bot, and then sell it. And then it's like a shitty product. We've seen so many people do that before. It's crazy. A lot of Instagram people, right? You see a lot of people selling bots, and then you use the bot, and you're like, this shit doesn't even work. You're like, how did it work for them and not work for me? It's because they gave you a bad bot. I see people sell this stuff all the time. It's crazy. All right, I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water and then I'm gonna check out the algo entries. So give me 1 second. And then looking right here, you can see it did exactly what I just warned you guys about, right? This is why I'm not trading at higher highs. Look how it just reverses at that higher high. So don't get caught up in these fake outs. There's just a bunch of traps right now. So I will be right back 1 second and then I'm gonna grab some water. All right, guys, I'm back. No entries here yet. Let's see. This could be a possible MPSPA, or no, sorry, MPSPA. This could be a possible breakout V3 continuation. If you guys are familiar, that's one of the strategies that Ashish took earlier. If you guys are not familiar with the MPS, or sorry, I keep saying MPS, it's breakout V3, BV3. It's a buy signal followed by a green candle. So if this candle closes green, this is a BV3 entry. It's not looking like it's going to happen. Price is just chopping up around this area still. Nothing new. Yeah, nothing new. I'm gonna push this higher, high up a little higher. There you go. So price is just respecting the range here for the most part. I'm gonna see, yeah. She said if I ever do that, you guys can boo me out of here. I don't want to become one of those gurus on Instagram peddling some BS. Yeah, I made that like basically my goal when I got into the trading space. You guys got to be careful with who you follow and who you guys trust when you guys are learning how to trade or if you guys are buying trading products, right? Because there's a lot of fake people on the internet that are selling trading stuff. I would say that the biggest thing to look out for if you're going to follow someone who trades is live trading, right? Because live trading is going to show if someone actually knows how to trade or not. Or ask somebody a question about trading. If someone can't give you an answer right away, like if you ask them a trading question, they can't answer it clearly, you obviously don't know what they're talking about. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest measure when you're looking for someone who can actually trade is live trading. I have, if you guys look at my YouTube, it's not public anymore, but if you look at my YouTube, you can pull up my playlist or you can just go to so if you go to the Discord, go to live trading sessions and then click on the playlist right there. You guys can watch all of my live trading sessions. I've been trading live every day for the past 10 years. So you guys can see over here, I have over 1,312 live trading sessions. And they're real live trading sessions. They're not like replays or anything like that. They're uh they're like actually live. So if you guys ever want to go back or if you guys ever want to see how I traded like a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 10 years ago, you can always go back and just watch the video or watch, you go to the playlist or you go as far as back as you want. If you want to go back to see how I was trading 9 months ago, right? You can click on this video here and you can go to my live trading session from that day. So if you guys ever like want to see if someone knows how to trade, like make sure that they have live trading available, right? Because you want to see how they react to the market. You want to see how they analyze, like in real time, not like trying to teach you a strategy, but in real time. Because you can go over here and this is from April 15th, 2025. You can see over here, you can see Cody in the background. You can see that was before he was injured. And you can see the strategy right here. I was still applying the MPS V2, right? It's the same exact strategy. So the same strategy I applied a year ago, I'm still applying today. I'm not jumping around between different strategies. I have one trading style, which is trend momentum. So like basically I look for the trend, I look for momentum, and I identify entries that way. So yeah, if you ever follow anybody, it doesn't have to be me, be anybody. Just make sure that they have live trading and then watch their live sessions to see if they actually know what they're talking about or if they actually know what they're doing. Because you don't want to get scammed by someone in the trading space, guys. There's so many scammers. I've been trading live for like a long time and I've been in the trading space for like over 15 years. So I've seen people come and go and I've seen people get scammed and I see people scam every day. It's um it's pretty crazy. It's crazy how easy it is for people to be gullible to follow someone. Like if someone can post a supercar or they can post like some fake profits or whatever. I think the prop firm space made things a lot easier for people to scam as well. Because before, when people were scamming, um, when people were scamming before, they would use fake brokers, right? Like an unregulated broker, and they use a demo account. Now with prop firms, it's easier for people to scam because they're like, oh, I made X amount of profit on a prop firm. It's like it's way easier for people to fake it. Um, so just be careful. You know, the main thing you want to follow is someone who's consistent and someone who live trades. Like for me, I can show you my whole stats of trading from last year, right? I could almost guarantee if you ask anybody else, to show you their stats. Like these are my stats for this year. I've only taken 3 trades, but I'll show you like my stats for last year. And I can show you my live, like these trades were taken live every single day from January 2nd, 2025 up until December 31st. I can guarantee you that like basically 99% of the people out there who are trying to sell your product, they're never going to show you their stats for the year. They'll maybe show you stats for a month, maybe for a week, maybe for a day, but ask them for their stats for a whole year that are live trading, and nobody's going to show you that. I can guarantee it. I've seen some of the biggest gurus out there. People ask for that all the time. Like, let me see your year-to-date stats. It's crickets. Nobody will ever show you that. And if you wanted to go back and like vet my trades, you can look at my stats here. I can give you my whole stats, and it has all of my trades listed. And then you can go back and you can even look at the live trading sessions for those days because everything is documented, like everything from everyday trading and stuff. So yeah, again, you don't have to learn from me, but I'm saying if you learn from anybody out there, just make sure that you actually vet them and that they actually know what they're doing. Because the last thing you want to do is learn trading and then learn it the wrong way. I think that's the worst part. There's a lot of people in here who have learned trading from different groups. They've been and they learn all the wrong things. So what happens is they come to this group and then now they confuse stuff or they're not able to learn anything new. So just something for you guys to understand and realize. Yeah. So like when I used to mentor people, I actually like mentoring people who have no trading knowledge, like who has no trading background. Because the problem is if you learn, like for example, if you came from a different group and you're trying to learn my strategies and you learn how to trade something different, like you started trading like supply and demand or order flow, or you learned support and resistance or something like that. If you guys learned a different way of trading, it's hard for you to really unlearn that stuff and pick up my style of trading. Because my style of trading is way different compared to everyone else. I don't think I know very many other people out there that actually trade the way I do, right? I trade momentum and I trade breakouts. Most people trade whatever's popular at the time, right? Like right now, the orb strategies are very popular. Fair value gaps are very popular. Those are like the two main strategies that everybody's applying. And there's nothing wrong with applying those strategies. It's just you have to stick to one style of trading. Like you shouldn't go from like orb to breakout to mean reversion to this. If you do it that way, you're going to be super confused and you're not going to be able to take a lot of entries. So yeah, Masij said, and that's what we're going to give them, the orb. Yeah, I mean the orb is a big favorite. I don't know. Well, I understand why it's such a simple strategy to follow. But okay, let's see the orb for today. Did the orb work today? The orb never reads, or no, it did work today. So today it actually did work out if you did the 5 minute orb. So price broke past structure, retested right there. It's one of those days where the orb actually worked out. I like to just keep the orb here to see to prove that it doesn't work all the time. Like when I see people that have win streaks on orbs, I'm like, that's not possible, bro. So here's an orb from yesterday. The orb right here was for a sell. Price broke below structure, retested right there, flop, right? It's a loss. The orb from the day before that on Tuesday, it was also a loss, it looks like right here. Yeah, so when I always see people push the orb and they say it's like a 100 win rate strategy, it's not. You guys can go back and look at the orb yourself. It's not. It's a good strategy during certain markets, but not all the time. So the orb for this week, it looks like it won twice and it lost twice. So it won on Monday, it lost on Tuesday, lost on Wednesday, and then it went over here on Friday. So yeah, I'm not going to knock the orb. I know the orb is a good strategy if you have certain criteria in place, but the way that it's marketed and it's sold to like new traders online, I think it's really scammy how people are pushing the orb, saying it's the only strategy you need. Because the drawdown is pretty bad, guys. If you guys look at the orb, it's gonna have like weeks where it loses like every single day. And if you're trading that on like a prop firm, you're gonna blow the account. It's just not possible. It's not sustainable. All right, so we currently have a buy signal right here, guys. Price just keeps pushing up a little bit higher. As you guys can see, we have a higher high right here. If we get a sell signal, this might start to set up for a possible MPSPA, but there's just nothing there right now. Yeah, Masij, exactly. Um, Yeah, Steven said that, yeah, there's also people out there who will try to manage your account and then just blow it. That's the thing with my hedge fund guys is that I don't really take very many trades. Like, yeah, I'm not going to make you a ton of profit, but I'll try to make you consistent profit over time. But I'm also not going to blow your account. That's the key thing. And that's how hedge funds typically operate, like real hedge funds. All right, Masij is done for the day. So we'll see you back here on Monday. Masij, have a great weekend. We'll see you then. All right, so we have a pivot scalp here, which is currently running. There's like two pivot scalps, actually. There's one pivot scalp right here. I mean, I didn't get into it, of course, but this was a pivot scalp. That one over there didn't play through. And this one over here is currently running. And this one looks like it's actually going to play through. Yeah, two pivot scalps right there, running back to back from each other. Now let's go take a look at the algo increase. So this is going to be an algo entry for 710. Candle's closing right here. This is going to be an algo entry at 710 for a buy. For anybody who's looking to get into that algo entry for 60/30. I'll follow it, but I'm not really going to take it right here. For one, the candle's too big. It's at a higher high. Like I mentioned before, I don't like this type of structure. I need price to break above it and then hold above this area here. This is also an MPSPA entry right here. So there's a buy signal retracement confirmation on this green candle. This was an MP, or sorry, not MPSPA. This was an MPSV2. And then this right here is the algo entry currently running right now. I'll follow with you guys. This is the first target entry for the algo at 710. The algo entry right here has I actually already have it down below. So the algo entry right here at 710, it has a 55% probability of it winning overall, has a 5.45 max equity drawdown, profit factor at 2.444. Looking over here at the individual sides, the buy side over here has a 63.64% probability of it winning. The sell side has a 44.44% probability. This trade right here will typically run for about 7 minutes if it wins. If it loses, it runs for about 10 minutes. Average bars per trade is 8, so it usually runs for about 8 minutes total for win or loss, but the winners will typically hit faster than the losers. So the trade's currently running right now. I'm not in this position, but this is the algo entry at 710. See, I don't like the market conditions here. See how it's pretty flat? That's why I didn't want to get caught in because it was currently at the higher high. I don't like trading at higher highs because this ends up being a resistance point and it can just reject off it, right? It can just start to reverse from this point here. So this is just from experience, and I think there was flickering momentum here anyways. Yeah, there's a flickering momentum right here at 707. So this trade over here would have been skipped because there was a flickering momentum. And I'll put that over here on the algo data. So this is flickering momentum. Again, this is, we talk about how the flickering momentum is, it prevents a lot of entries, but it also prevents a lot of losses. So let's go back to that right there. So we would have avoided that loss right there, right? For a couple different things. Like this is why the discretion is really important because there's a higher high right there. I told you guys I don't like taking trades around higher highs. And then on top of that, we had flickering momentum here at 707. With the 1 minute time frame, we want to make sure that we don't take entries that have flickering momentums 3 minutes prior. And this was obviously within 3 minutes of the time, right? So what happened here is price got shooken out and it's probably going to push up now after. So now it's probably going to break through and then shoot right through. Um, but yeah, the flickering momentum, as much as we hate it because it prevents a lot of entries, it's actually it's actually really beneficial because it prevents us from getting into unnecessary losses. So over here at 632, this was the first algo entry. So the first one over here actually won. Let me go to this chart. 632 right here is the first algo entry. So this was a listed entry, not a target entry, but a listed entry right there. That one was a win. Um, this one was a loss, but it was a flickering momentum, so obviously not an entry there. Yeah, there's no flickering momentum at the 632. So the last momentum signal was at 630, 628, and the one after that was at 641. So this 632 entry over here was a valid entry for the algo. The next algo entry is at 738. I'll just update that right there, and we'll see that as it comes up later. All right, so looking at this right here, guys, we have a higher high, we have a sell signal. This could start to set up for a possible MPSPA. The only problem here is that we're going to be right at the sessions. So I don't think, I mean, yeah, it's not looking like we're going to be able to get an entry right here, unfortunately. Well, obviously, I'd like to get one here, but we'll see how this ends up closing. So what I need to see here is I need price to retrace up and then come back down. And I need this entry to happen within this area right here. It can't happen anywhere below, because if it happens below, it's going to be too close to the sessions down here. So I'm going to be watching this for an MPSPA. The crazy thing is that the market's so choppy right now, but the volume is actually really high. If you look at the ATR, it's currently at 43. So this is as low as I can go for entry. So what I would need to see here is a retracement and continuation down lower. We don't have it here yet, but that's what I'm going to be looking for. We have sell momentums that are starting to trickle on. So we have a pending sell here on the 3-minute, a pending sell on the 5, and a pending sell possibly setting up for the 10. So right here on the 3-minute time frame, we have a higher high. And we have a pending sell signal, which is currently setting up right there. So pending sell signal right there. Again, I need a retracement first before I can take that entry. So higher high, sell signal. I'm looking for the retracement. I'm looking for the continuation down. So we're getting that retracement right there. This could start to set it for an MPSPA, guys. So I'm going to be watching for it here. So we have a green candle here. Okay, this red candle is going to have to close below this blue line right here. So if this red candle closes below here, this is going to be an MPSPA entry. It's got to be pretty clear. And it's not looking like it's going to close. Looks like we might get a momentum back to the upside. We're going to get a flickering here soon. I can already tell. Just looking at the candle, there's momentum behind it. All right, we'll see. We got 22 seconds left on here. Again, if this candle closes below the red signal, then, or not a red signal, but a red candle. So this is an MPSPA setting up right here, guys. Let me get into this one if it closes. And it's going to close right there.
Order submitted.
All right. So it's pushing down right now. The exit's got to be at 719, looks like. Back up a little bit.
Order submitted.
Stop's going to be at 809. Just 1 point.
Stop filled.
Some of my trades are still running. Some of them got stopped out.
Order filled.
All right, unfortunately got stopped out on that trade right there. All right, it's all good. So took a loss right there on that for today, unfortunately. And Yeah, so took a loss for today. This is the first loss for this week, it looks like. First official loss for the fund and everything. So looking at my stats for this week so far, we just took one trade. It was a loss, unfortunately. It looks like I got chopped out on that. It was in profit and it was looking good, but then I got chopped out as price ended up coming right back up. So, and I had a couple errors over here for some reason. Let me see. Um, Scroll down to see the other accounts. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everything here was lined up properly. But all right, so one loss over here for this trade right here for this week. I was hoping to get more entries, but I mean, this is all that we were getting to be able to get this week. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing ends up coming right back down. But yeah, for today, there was just one, or for this week, there was just one trade. We were stuck in this market pretty much all week. It's been very choppy. If you guys want to keep trading, you can, but my plan is just one trade per day. So this will prevent me from going into any deep drawdown, any issues with possible, over trading or revenge trading. So I think for this week we're down to 1 hour. This market sucked this week. I was hoping this week was gonna be a lot better because it was NFP. I was expecting there to be more volatility, more direction. But you can see we've been kind of stuck in this chop pretty much all week. This has been very similar to the other day's markets. I was hoping that since we were in this chop, price was going to chop back into this lower range. That's why the sells here were looking good because I was like, okay, fine, price is gonna go up here, it's gonna fake out, it's gonna come right back into this lower range down here. But yeah, I mean we've been getting caught in these like random spikes. Yeah, like what Daniel said. Daniel said, man, this happened to us 2 times this week. Strong push down and then random spike up. Yeah, the spike up that happened on Wednesday, that was like, I mean, that was obviously based off Trump. If you guys remember, he was having a speech, and then we were looking at a sell, and then it spiked up like 150 points. So a lot of price manipulation this week. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing ends up coming down at some point, but I'm taking my loss for the day. Taking my loss for the day and wrapping it up. Here, I'll go and update my trader sync real quick. I'll put it on this chart so that I can show you guys my stats. It's probably going to take a while for it to update, but I'm going to try to update it right now. Yeah, this is key. You guys have to be able to control your risk, right? For me, I just have one trade per day because I'd rather have 1 hour loss than have a 2 hour loss because now I just need one win to make it right back up. So the month of February is not the best, but I'm going to be hoping to take a win next week. If we have a win next week, it's going to make it right back. So that's kind of what I'm going to be aiming for. I'll take a look at the algo entries in a little bit. Let me check the list over here, actually. Where was the next algo entry? It was at 638. So we're not there yet, but there's another algo entry coming up right here for a buy at 638. And I'll be taking a look at that if that ends up playing through. But yeah, I mean, choppy markets so far, and it is what it is. I'm up in profit for the year though, so took a loss today, but I'm up in profit for this year so far. I think I'm still up 2R. I'll show you guys the stats once they're done uploading onto TraderSync. We had a win on, so we had 2 wins last month, one loss. That put us at a 3R. I have one loss this month, which puts us at a plus 2R still. So 2 losses, 2 wins, but I'm doing a 2-to-1 risk to reward. And that's what's key about having a risk to reward that's 2-to-1 or 1-to-2, is that when you win, you end up recouping the loss and you make more on top of it. And look how price is coming all the way back down. This is what I was just talking about. Tend to get chopped out and then it comes all the way back down to where it was supposed to go. It's just chopping up between this range right here. It's all good. Um, you know, old me would have probably FOMO'd into this and got back in for re-entry, but I'm not going to do that, of course. I got to stick to my game plan. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think this is going to hit past this area. It's just unlucky timing with these entries. Yeah, we got the sell momentum starting to kick in right here. What time was this entry? So this entry right here was at 7:18. Just want to see where the momentum is. So I'm looking at it right here. This one actually had pretty good clusters for sells. So the sells here did look good at the time of entry because we entered at 7:18. We had a cluster of sells right here at 7:13, 7:14, and then 7:16 came up, 7:18, and that was where our entry was, right? 7:18. So I'm just looking back at like all the different confluences that were up when our entry came up at 7:18. It was a good entry. It was just, this is what I call a fair loss, right? I followed my strategy to the T and we just ended up getting spiked out in the trade. It's the downside of having a really tight stop loss. But even if we had a wider stop loss, we still would have gotten stopped out, right? 40-point stop loss still would have stopped out. 50-point stop loss still would have stopped out. So I'd rather get out at 30 than have to risk getting stopped out even higher. So, all right, we'll see here. Price is still kind of chopping up between this range. I do think it's going to end up hitting eventually. Maybe not now, maybe later, but it is going to keep chopping up within these two ranges right here. This higher high and this previous higher high where it's currently sitting. There's no lower low here right now. If I was to take this off, this would have been the range that I was looking for. And you can see our price is still chopping up and down between these two structures. Some pretty big candles here. This candle right here is about almost 100 points. This right here is about 80 points. These are days where you have to know when to sit out after taking that loss or taking that win. That's why I try to get entries before 7 o'clock, but unfortunately, we just don't have anything here prior. 7 o'clock's like the sweet spot. That's why Masih just kind of like cracked the code with like 6:30 to 8 or 6:30 to 7. He applies pretty much all the strategies and he looks for whatever is the best one that comes up um, with the automation. Because you guys can see once 7 o'clock hits, let me just show you guys from 7 o'clock. Like right here, price was choppy, but it was actually moving up and down, right? The problem after 7 o'clock is that you get choppiness and it's like really choppy, where it's like if your stop loss is tight, you're gonna get stopped out before it reaches your target point. But anyways, my trader sync is updating. Once it's done updating, I'll show you guys all of my stats for this week and for this month and for this year so far. Let's go back to ES. So we had a couple algo entries over here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. And we'll see. So let me go to ES real quick. First entry was at 6:43. You know, I'm thinking the TP stop loss might be a little too wide. I think I might have done it incorrectly. But either way, if we did the 60, so if we did 64.32, this here actually got really close to target and it stopped out. Or actually, no, I take that back. Sorry, that was a sell. So there's no entry there for ES. 644. I mean, this one here still would have lost. I'm going to look at ES with no flickering momentums. I'm just going to mark it up as is. There's so many entries here. 646 per buy. No, I don't think I could do that. I think I have to mark up the flickering momentums because it's going to show a lot of unnecessary losses here. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at ES because I don't think the numbers here are right. Because this range is just way too far out. 647 for a buy. Yeah, I'll have to go back and take a look because these over here are just not, there's way too many entries. Sell 645, 655. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and review ES first before I actually document these trades because I'm looking right now at the range. The ranges are just too far out. Like these trades aren't supposed to run for, like this over here ends up hitting, but it runs for a really long time. Yeah, for like 21 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna go back and take a look at this a little later, because I was looking at the data. So yeah, I was looking at ES over here. It says that TP stop loss was 16 TP 8 points, but I'm looking over here and this thing is it's pretty wide. But then again, if you look at the 16.8, I think it's too tight. So I'll have to go back and review that. I also have to turn on alerts. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn off the alerts for gold because I'm not really trading gold. And I'm going to turn on the alerts for ES. So this will be a buy signal. 1 minute. Oops. 1 minute buy momentum. All right, I got the alerts set up right there for gold for ES. Got those running now. Okay, I'll have to come back and take a look because I can't tell if there was flickering momentum for this, so I don't think I can document the trades for ES today. It's yeah, it's just I just won't be able to because I know there was flickering momentum around this area right here. I can tell just by looking at the candles. So I'm assuming a lot of these entries here would have probably been skipped for the most part. So if you guys want to go back and take a look at it, the entries are going to be listed on the algo list, but I can't really document them because I don't know what was flickering and what wasn't. So there's a lot of it. You can see there's a lot of entries here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There were 17 target entries for ES. I'm pretty sure not all of these would have been good because the targets are so big and we're in a super, super choppy market right now. But yeah, I'm going back to YM here. It's still chopping up back and forth, guys, as you guys can see. It's still going back and forth. It's just not a good time to take entry of, obviously. I was trying hard to follow the MPSPA, like whenever it comes up, and it did come up here, but like I said, the entries here just weren't very good because we're in a choppy market. And there's just going to be days like that. There's going to be times and days where the market is very choppy, and it's best to sit out. Uh, but nonetheless, the criteria there was met. For some reason, my trader sync is not updating. Let me check again real quick. Year to date. Hmm. Weird. Okay, so it only updated some of them. Let me I'm gonna re-upload them again. Yeah, for some reason it's not letting me log into my account. All right, so let's see if there's anything else here. There's nothing to take right now at the moment. There's a pivot scalp that came up right here. Price still stuck within the chop. Yeah, I just don't see anything here right now at the moment, specifically. This is a breakout B3 continuation. So this is one of the entries that Masij took today. If you guys are looking to get into it, there's a buy signal. It's followed by a green candle. This is one of our older strategies, breakout V3 or breakout V3 continuation. Basically, what you're looking for is you're looking for a momentum signal to come up and a continuation right after it. Obviously, it's not a good area to be trading because we're in this chop right now between these structures, but that is a setup right there for a BV3. All right, I'm gonna try to upload my trades. My trader sync's taking a while to upload. All right, while we do this and we're waiting, I'm gonna go ahead and start looking at my algo entries for the day. So if you guys want to follow along, just pull up the spreadsheet. I'm starting to update them right here. There's a couple entries here listed. Actually, there's none. I take that back. The next entry is at 7:38, so I can't even look for anything yet. 7:34 right now, so it's not even time for the next entry. I'll check the 40/20s over here. So looking at 40/20, I can go ahead and look at this real quick. So 6:32 for a buy. Obviously that one. 6:33 for a buy. And I check the alerts here. Make sure there's no flickering. Okay, 6:33 for a buy. This also one. So the 40/20 actually looks like it's been doing pretty good today. 6:59 for a sell. No entry. 7:05 for a buy. No entry. 7:10 for a buy. There's a flickering momentum at 7:07. I think that's the same one that we looked at earlier for the 60/30. 7:18 for a buy. There's no buy signal there. 7:24 for a sell. There's flickering momentums right here. And 7:27 for a buy. No entry. All right, so I just updated the spreadsheet right now if you guys are looking at it as we speak. So I just updated the 40/20s right here. So there's two entries which came up at 6:32, 6:33. They were both wins. So again, if you're looking for just one trade per day, the 40/20 is a winner for today. Now looking over here at the rest of the trades, there's a bunch of no entries. Looking at the 60/30, there was a win at 6:32. There's no entry at 7:10. There's one coming up right here at 7:38. So if there's a buy signal that's currently active right now, which it is, um, yeah, there's going to be an entry right here coming up for the algo in the next 2 minutes. As long as there's no momentum signal that comes up, this is going to be an entry for the algo at 7:38 on the close of this candle right here. It's an ES momentum, but not YM. So if you're looking to get into a trade here for YM, this is going to be the algo entry. I think this is going to be the target entry for today. Yeah, 7:38 has a weighted average of 55% probability, overall of 50, max equity drawdown of 6.18%, profit factor of 2 points. So again, if you want to take this entry right here at this candle close, it's going to be an algo entry for 6:38, as long as there's no momentum that comes up from now until then. So for those of you who are looking to get into it, this candle's going to close in about 15 seconds. And Elad mentioned that we're near the all-time high. All right, I'm not in this position, but I'm gonna follow up with you guys. It's the algo entry. I took my loss for the day already, so I'm not jumping into anything else. Like I said, this is how I control my risk. Take one loss for the day, and then I'm done. I'm done, and I don't risk anything else after. So we got the algo entry right there currently running. No flickering momentum, so this here would be a valid algo entry. Again, if you're looking at the list here, guys, this is the first target entry for the day. Yeah, first target entry for the day. Let's see. Emily said I did some testing on the MPSPA and noticed that when the 2-minute momentum prints at the same time of the entry, it gives better chance of it hitting TP. Basically, if the 2-minute doesn't print, I wait for it to print first, then I enter with delayed entry as long as there's still enough room relative to the last lower low or higher high and the red flags and doesn't conflict with any of them. As long as the take profit has not been hit yet. Okay, no, it's good to know, Emily. I'll probably take a look at that. If that's the case, maybe I should so basically, yeah, you're looking to trade in the direction of the 2 minutes. So let me see where that would have been. So entry would have been right here. Oh, it was 718. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so at 718, the sell signal didn't actually print. So yeah, so you're basically looking for like a confluence there. So I guess in a situation like this, the trade would have just been skipped in a sense. Okay, no, it's good to know. I'll take a look at that. Maybe add a new momentum alert for 2 minutes or whatever. I think that could whatever helps, right? I'm always looking for ways to improve and ways to do things better. There's always ways to kind of do things a little more efficiently and to be a little more accurate in a sense. All right, so let's see what we got here. Okay. So we got price kind of just sitting around still. The algo entry is still active. It's in profit right now, but the volatility is just very low. Let me check the statistics here. So this entry was at, yeah, 738. Let me see how long this trade usually runs for. So for this specific entry, it looks like it's about to hit. So it has a 50% probability overall. It has a max equity drawdown of 618, profit factor of 2 points. Looking over here at the probabilities for buys, it has a 58.33% probability of it winning for the buy side, and then 37.50% probability for the sell side. We're obviously in the buy side, so that's going to work in our favor. Now looking over here, it typically takes about 12 minutes for it to hit for a buy or for a win, and it takes about 7 minutes for it to hit for a loss. So looking at the time period right now, this entry happened right here at 7:39. We're currently 5 minutes into the trade. So within the next couple minutes, if it doesn't hit, I mean, it should hit target soon, but it will typically hit stop within 7 minutes and it'll hit win within 12 minutes. The average hold time is about 9 minutes. So within 9 minutes, this trade should basically be done on average. So I'll just drag this out a little bit. This is going to be the 9 minute period. Again, if it might run longer, but if it loses, it usually runs shorter. So we'll see. But this is yeah, nice. Looks like Jarrell over here. He took the algo entry on his evals for 45 points and he got out. Okay, yeah. If you feel like you want to pull out, just pull out, guys. No need to hold on to it, right? Today's Friday. Um, Masij mentioned that, Fridays are the riskier days for the data. So like all the data he's pulled based off my strategies, Friday is usually the riskiest day of them all. He doesn't really trade on Fridays, but I guess now he is. I still find Mondays and Fridays to be equally risky. Mondays because people are re-entering the market from the weekend. Fridays because people are exiting the market from the weekend. This is why the sells earlier looked kind of attractive to me, right? I was looking for the sell earlier with the MPSPA because I was like, okay, they're going to sell off. Price is probably going to distribute. We're getting closer to the end of the session, and obviously that wasn't the case. So we'll continue following this algo entry right here. Obviously, I would like the algo entry to hit, but again, I'm not in this position, so I'm going to be following it. I took my loss for the day already, which was off this MPSPA over here. I unfortunately got caught in the spike, of course, which happens. And yeah, just took my loss on that trade. I'm updating my trader sync as we speak. It's not done, or actually it's done now. Let me see. All right, so let me check this over here real quick. Okay, so my losses from today were actually not that bad. Yeah, they weren't that bad actually. I mean, they were bad, but it's not as bad as I was kind of expecting, to be honest. The Okay, so let me my trader sync is done updating. Let me just drag this over real quick. Or let me check. I don't think the numbers here are right. Hmm. Okay, I think my trades were doubled. I'll have to go back and fix that. But let me just show you guys real quick. Yeah, I got it. They were double logged. I hate when that happens, but whatever. It happens. I just want to show you guys the R multiple for my stats for this week or for this month. So these are my stats right now. I do have to go back and make some changes. I just want to show you guys my loss for the day. So I lost about 60,000 for the day. It looks like a big number, but in a bigger scheme of things, it's actually not that bad because I'm already up. This number needs to be adjusted. I didn't take two trades on Tuesday, so I got to adjust this. This is actually half of that. So basically, it's closer to 100,000. So when or 120,000 or something like that. Basically, whenever I lose a trade, I'm losing half of what I typically win because I'm doing a 1 to 2 risk reward. So I'm in profit for the year. Again, these numbers here aren't correct. I have to make some adjustments because some of the numbers were doubled. But basically, these are the numbers that are showing right now. I'm close to like about 200,000 profit for the month, for the year, and for the month, basically for December or January and February. And I took a loss today. So what I wanted to show you guys was the R multiple, right? So I took a 1 R multiple loss for today. And then on these days over here, I took 2 R multiple wins. So with this being the case over here, I had a negative 1 R multiple when I took this loss on the 12th. I had a plus 2 R multiple on the 22nd when I had a win here. So this is basically a plus 1 R multiple. And then I had a win over here on the 27th, which was a plus 2 R multiple again, because I'm doing a 1 to 2. So I was up 3 R at this point, right, in January. And then today I took one loss, which is a 1 R multiple. So I'm down 1 R multiple for today, but for the year so far, I'm currently up still 2 Rs. You can see my profit factor over here is 2.69. So I'm still in profit for the year so far, 2 R. So from January up until today, I'm up 2 R. Again, the numbers here, they're going to look big, but don't focus on the numbers. The thing is, I'm operating a hedge fund, so the numbers are going to be huge regardless. Yeah, the numbers are just always going to be big. So don't look at the numbers here. I would say if you're going to look at the numbers, focus on the profit factor because that's what's really going to make this is what matters here for my trading because I'm trading based off R multiples. So right now I'm currently at a 2.6 R, which is great, right? Man, it's a good R multiple for the year so far. So again, you're going to see the numbers here are going to be big, right? My win rate is currently 57.14. The numbers here are going to be huge. So just don't try not to pay attention too much to the numbers because this is not going to be realistic for you guys. You're not going to be making 100,000 per trade because you're not trading that much capital like I am. But the big thing here is going to be the R multiple because you can base this off your account, right? So for example, if you're trading, say, a 50K account, right? We'll just use, I'll break down the math because I don't want you guys to be like, oh, I'm going to make 200,000. It's not going to be realistic for you guys. It's really not, unless you're trading 20 accounts. So if you're trading a 50K account, let's see. So for a 50K account, your max drawdown is going to be 2,500. You're going to divide that by three. So basically, you're going to make 800 per trade, right? So 800 per trade, that's going to be like a 1R or yeah, that'd be a 1R. No, no, no. So you're going to risk 800 to make 1600, right? So if you multiply 1600 times 2.69, you basically be at 4,300. That's like what the numbers are looking like if you're basing it off the R multiple, right? Because your two trades, that's how much profit you'd make. So don't base it off this, but base it off your actual account size. Or however you're risking. If you're risking 500 per trade, that's going to be your 1R multiple times 2.69. That's how much profit you would have made if you're in 2R multiple. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys need to do them, if you guys are trying to figure out the math, again, just multiply whatever your risk is for the day and then multiply it by the profit factor because that's going to be the real number. So for example, if you're doing a 300K account, and the equation is easy. If you're doing a 300K count, your max drawdown is 7,500, right? That's your trailing drawdown. You're going to divide that by three or four, just, I mean, depending on how conservative you want to be. So we could divide that by, we'll be conservative. We'll divide it by four. This is how much you want to risk per day, right? 1,875. So you do this and you multiply it by the profit factor, which is or times 2.69. And then this is how much profit you'd have per account if you're on a 300K. So this is how much profit you'd have. And then if you have 20 accounts, you'd just multiply that by the account number. And yeah, you'd make that much profit, of course, if you're on 20 300K accounts. But again, that's not realistic for most people. You're probably going to be on a 50K account, so 50,000 or sorry, yeah, 50,000. Your max drawdown is 2,500. We're going to divide that by four trading days. So that's you can have four back-to-back losses before you blow the account. 625 is going to be your max loss for the day. And then you multiply that by 2.69. And that's how much profit you'd make per account, 1,681. And then if you have 20 accounts, you multiply that by 20. And this is where your profit would typically be. So if you guys want that equation, it's very simple. It's just you multiply your max loss for the day times the profit factor, and then you multiply by how many accounts you have. That's how you could calculate how much profit potential you could possibly make if you took all the trades for this month or whatever it may be. So don't compare my profits to yours, guys. I don't want you guys to get a false sense of profitability. Unless you're trading a ton of accounts, of course. So, all right, there's nothing here so far, guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. I haven't really taken anything here. Jonathan said he's done. The market's playing around too much. Yeah, the market's doing exactly what we were talking about, right? So that's why for me, I mentioned if I take a loss, I'm done for the day, right? Because I'm not trying to get caught up in these fake outs right here. We already knew the market was playing from like earlier this morning. It's been choppy since market opened. So market opened up right here at 6:30. You got super choppy around this area. And then now we're right back at it, right? It's just choppy again. So you can see over here, it faked out, basically chopped up and down, faked out outside of the range, and then it pulled back into the range. This is not the type of market you want to trade in. So again, if you want to trade the way that I'm doing and you want to limit your risk, I would say take one trade or one win or one loss per day. Just take one trade. If you win, great. If you lose, that's perfectly fine. You just take the loss and you move on. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught in this choppiness, guys. It's like it's really hard to trade in this type of market because of the choppiness. It makes it very difficult to find consistency. So let's see, 738. This was for the algo almost hit. It got really close to the target right there. So the 60-30 stopped out, but the 40-20 actually won. So this one over here lost, but the 40-20 actually won because the target was a lot closer. Not a lot, it's close enough, right? So if you did 40-20, that one over there actually won. I'm gonna update the spreadsheet here as we go. So the 40-20 did pretty good today for the most part. 739, there's no entry for that one because it was a buy. And then there's an 8 o'clock one coming up soon. 756 for a sell. That one hasn't came up yet. It's about to come up. Okay, so let me pull up the spreadsheet for you guys. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet for you guys right here. 60-30. So for for the 60-30, it was a loss at 738, but for the 40-20, it was a win. So the 40-20 actually did really good today. It has I'll put this over here real quick. This was yesterday's 40-20. It had a loss yesterday. But then today it had a win. So we'll look at the overall stats for this week. Yeah, the 40-20 is actually on a roll today. It has 3 back-to-back wins, so it's up a 6R for the day. All right, I'm just updating this because we're now done. Okay, here are the algo entries for today. I'm going to take this off because we're only doing one trade per day. So looking at the 40-20 for this week, it had a win on Monday. It had a win on Wednesday, no trades on Tuesday, a loss on Thursday, and then a win today. So for the algo on the 40-20, it was up 246.5. So 5R for this week is actually really good. The 40-20 was really good for the algo this week. Looking over here at the 60-30. The 60-30 was a loss for this week. Let's put this over here real quick. Or not, it's a win overall for the week, but it was a loss for today. Okay, now looking over here at the 60-30, this was a win on Monday, so plus 2R, win on Tuesday, plus 4R, win on Wednesday, plus 6R, and then a loss today, which was a plus 5R. So overall, the algo did really good for both the 60-30 and for the 40-20. Just they're both 5Rs for 60-30 or 40-20. So YM was actually a really good week for the algo. If that was all you took. As you guys can see, there's a couple people here who passed evals this week, some people who got payouts. I think Ed was one of them, Ed, Ali, and then a couple other people. So big congrats to you guys. Again, if you want to stick to just the algo entries, feel free to take them, right? Today was a loss regardless. So I took an MPSPA. That trade loss, if I took the algo, I still would have lost. So today, regardless of the entry, I still would have taken a loss on a Friday. So it's okay. I'm taking that loss, moving on with it. Like I said, if you stick to one entry per day, you can find consistency. It's going to be a slow consistency, but you're going to find consistency. You're not going to blow your account, but you're also not going to make a ton of profit right away. Here's again, Masij's profits. So Masij's profits for today, he made 10,000. So there's different ways of doing it. If you want to do what Masij is doing, you're looking for like basically the first entry to come up within the first 30 minutes of market open. And that's all he does. He takes 3 entries, 3 wins, and he's done, or 2 losses and he's done. Or if you want to take one algo entry, you can do that. Or if you want to take one MPS entry, you can do that as well. There's endless opportunities out there. You just got to figure out which strategy you want to apply and stick to it. The good thing here is the algo is actually starting to work out pretty nicely. So I'm starting to to lean back towards the algo, right? I think the algo here is starting to look pretty good again. We went during a period in January where there just was a lot of no entries, but it looks like the market is now starting to kind of smoothen out. And with the market smoothing it out like this, it's going to start to look a lot better. So I'll see what I decide to do. If we do go back to the algo, I'm probably gonna, I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm gonna do the 40-20 or the 60-30. But I mean, obviously one of them is going to be good. And I also got to look at the ES trades because there's so many that come up. I just got to figure out what the TP stop loss is for it because I don't think this is correct from what I've documented. But okay, let me check the chat real quick. If there's anything else here. Yeah, Emily said also for the MPSPA, when the momentum prints on a session line, I've also noticed more losses in that situation, even if the entry is not touching red flag, in case it helps. Okay, that's good to know, Emily. I'm glad that you mentioned that. If you guys notice anything else, feel free to hop into the chat. Let me know. I'm gonna put this in my notes so that I can possibly keep an eye out for this. I'm gonna say Emily's tips. Check 2-minute momentum signal for confirmation of entry, and then also check for momentum prints on session line. Okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah. So if the momentum prints on the session line, let me see if there's an example here. There's no example here yet, but yeah, if there was, and I know what you're talking about. It's because like sometimes the momentum is manipulated, right? It's just initial momentum as it breaks through the session line, but then it ends up faking out. Okay, let me check the algo entries again. I think there's one more that's at 7:59. It's for a sell, so there's gonna be no entry here. So let me go back to my algo entries. This right here is for a sell. There's no sell entry, which is currently active. 656 right here as well. So 756, let me see if there was a momentum signal. No, there wasn't. So 756 right here. I think this one's currently still running. So this one's currently running active. 739 was for a sell. All right, so 739 was for a sell. There was nothing there, so that was a no entry. This one over here is active. And this one over here is going to be no entry. What did I mark up right here? 657. No entry. That was loss. Okay. So I'll put that over here, loss. These are listed entries, not target entries. Again, if you're looking to, okay, so for today, 60-30, if you looked at all the entries, it was break even. If you looked at the target entries, it was just a loss, 1R. Now looking over here at the 40-20, I don't think there was an entry at 8 o'clock for a sell. So the 40-20 actually did really good. It's a 6R for the day if you took every single entry. If you took just the targeted entry, the first one, it was a 2R for the day. So yeah, 60-30 break even, 40-20 6R. Yes, I wasn't able to really document these because I don't know if they were flickering momentums at the time. We'll be able to identify that moving forward. And I didn't really mark up the 5-minute and 10-minute because I don't think the higher time frames are really going to be very useful. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be very useful, for now at least. But all right, guys, I think that's about it for now. Laud's asking, can you check yesterday's 725 entry? Okay, let me go check real quick. 725. You said 725 a lot. I don't see any 725 here. Let me check your chat real quick. There was nothing listed here for, or sorry, let me go down. I was on the wrong date. My bad. 725. Okay, let's go there. It was for a buy. 725 yesterday. This is the 5 minute. You know what? It was a typo. It was because right here I had it for a sell, but it was actually for a buy. Thanks for a lot for clearing that up. So yeah, it was for a sell. I mean, because it was with momentum, I was looking at the sell here. So if you took the sell there with momentum, it would have worked out. But this trade was let me check what the probabilities were for both. Okay, yeah, the probabilities were lesser. So this is actually no entry because it was for a sell, not for a buy. Okay, so that's been updated right there. Again, I'm not really looking at these higher time frames anymore. I think they're kind of irrelevant in a sense. The reason why I think these are irrelevant is because there's so many there's gonna be a lot of days where there's no entries, and it's hard to really factor in the flickering momentum. I think Joe asked this question earlier. Scroll up. Yeah, so Joe said, would you recommend avoiding all flickering momentums, even if it's flickering in the direction you want? As for the 710, it flickers 3 minutes before it was a buy signal, and that's what we were looking for. So I'm like I'm in between on that. For me personally, I think I would just skip it because today it was a good example, Joe, but I've seen that example happen in the past where we look at the flickering momentum and say it's in the direction of our trade and it still loses. So I think the flickering momentum in general just it creates an uncertainty with the direction of price. And that's why for me personally, it's just a better time it's better to just skip it than to still get into it. But if you find it useful and you think it works in your favor, I would say just go with it, right? It's going to be up to your own preference. But for me personally, from what I've seen, it actually doesn't work very well. Today was a good example of it working, but I've seen it yesterday and the day before that, and pretty much all year, that the flickering momentum doesn't matter which direction it's coming in. It just indicates that there is uncertainty with direction of price. And the problem with that is that you'll get chopped out. I think that's the big thing with the flickering momentum is not really that price is going to go against you. It's really that price may chop you out because you'll see sometimes, like, let me see. I'll just use this as an example. Let's see if we have a flickering momentum anywhere over here that I can kind of look at, like a 1 minute. Okay, so right here at 748. Yeah, so right here at 748, you can see that we had the flickering momentum. It ended up closing and then it ends up pushing it down further. But let me see if there's another example here. Okay, 732. No, that one actually pushes through again. Um, or look, so this is an example right here. So this over here was a straight push down, but looking at this one over here, there was a momentum signal at 732, and you can see it pushes up. But say, for example, if your entry is right here at 733, right, because you have a flickering momentum in the direction of your trade, this causes a lot of uncertainty because you can see this big spike right here. This would have screwed you horribly, right? That's why I don't want any flickering momentum at all. I just want a smooth push up, right, or a smooth push down. I want the momentum signal to come up and I just want it to be flat. Like I just want it to continue pushing that direction. Let's see, 730 over here. Okay, like so same thing right here, right? So at 730, there was a flickering momentum around that point, 728, 730. So let's just look at these times right here. 728. If you would have taken a buy right here, great, right? Because it's going in the direction of your momentum. But see how this big red candle comes up and it just flickers the other way, swings the other way very sharply. This is where you would get screwed. That's why for me, I don't like to have any flickering momentum at all. I just want the price to be continuously moving with no choppiness. What the flickering momentum really does is it tells you that price is going to chop around that point because the momentum is trying to swing the other way. Right. So that's why the flickering momentum is important because you can be smoothly moving to the upside like this. But if you get a flickering momentum, like for example, right here, you might get some of this chop before price ends up going back up. That's why for me, if I get a flickering momentum like right here, I'm not going to take any entries that happen 3 minutes after. I'd rather just take an entry when it's moving smoothly to the upside or moving smoothly to the downside. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's just from my observation. I started to notice that a lot. Let's see, Daniel got an NPSPA for 60 points. Did you get it? Let's see, I'm assuming you got, oh, it was right here for the sell, right? So higher high, sell signal, retracement. Oh, 801. Okay, a little later. So this one right here, yeah. So Daniel got into the MPSPA right here. A little late, but yeah, I'm glad you got it right there. So lower low, buy signal, retracement, confirmation right there. And Daniel got his 60 points. Nice work, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel said had plenty space back to the all-time high. Perfect. All right, great work, guys. So for those of you who locked in profits today, great work. If you guys locked in the loss today, if you took that earlier MPSPA with me, perfectly fine, guys. Like I said, it happens. It's just part of the game, right? You got to be able to take these losses, move on with it, and continue on with the next opportunity. It's just a reset, right? Every day is different. So if you had a loss today, don't let that carry on with you into the weekend or into the next week because Monday's a brand new day. Don't come into that day scared. You just got to come back and just repeat the process. And hopefully the market moves in your favor, which I do expect it to. I think this week was kind of tricky because of the government shutdown. As you guys can see from the news today, there was a lot of news events that were listed, but a lot of stuff didn't actually come out today. Right? We had NFP this week. We had a lot of information. We had a lot of news events that were scheduled for this week that didn't actually come out. There was no NFP, there was no jobs data. Right? This is the same BS that we ended up with like last year. If you guys remember during September till November, we had a whole 3 months or 4 months with no data. And it's crazy because NFP is supposed to be the biggest news week of the month. So, I mean, it is what it is, got chopped up, and we'll just take it as that. So here's our entry that we took earlier that we lost. You see eventually it ends up coming down, but it just ends up getting chopped up a lot around this point. So this is my loss for the day. And then here are my stats for the year so far. So like I said, I took a loss today, but I'm doing a 1 to 2 risk to reward. So one loss here is fine. If I have a win next week, I'll make like over 100,000. So I'll recoup the loss, make profit on top of it. And then if we have 2 wins for next week, it's going to pretty much double, if not quadruple the profits on there. So that's about it, guys. If there's any other questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, Alina's going to say hi to you guys real quick before we get off. And you guys know it's 8 o'clock, so it's Alina's playtime. So she just hi to you guys real quick. Let me check the chat before we get off. Yeah, Daniel was asking, did she have fun at Disney? Yeah, she had a blast, bro. She had a lot of fun. It was her first time at a theme park, first time on the rides. We took her on a couple of like the smaller roller coasters, and she liked it. She loved it a lot. So I know she's gonna like roller coasters when she gets bigger, for sure. She didn't cry at all. Yeah, Rev said sensory overload. Yeah, 100%. She wasn't prepared, but she had a great time. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. Yeah, Lila said, "Hi, princess." I bet you couldn't stop smiling. Yeah, she loved it. She liked all the rides. She had a blast on like the small ones, the big ones, and everything in between. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, Alina will see you guys on Monday.